And that's how we clap the day away.
Clap the day away?
Yeah. You know.
What?
Some people enjoy clapping and they want to clap the day away.
Is this why all day I just hear clapping from down here? Or are you doing something?
You just need a little clapping in your life sometimes.
I take care of a baby all day and I'm always clapping. She hasn't learned yet. She just stares at me.
I'm glad she learned belly drumming before clapping.
I don't know if she's intentionally belly drumming or she just flails her arms so much that sometimes she drums on her belly a little bit.
It seems very intentional sometimes. It's like repeated, like...
How was
She's
that?
not good at it, obviously.
Can I see that again?
She's got baby rhythm.
Oh, man.
Hello, lore heads, and welcome to the League, exploring the League of Legends lore from A to Z. My name is Rebecca.
And I'm John.
My name is Mark.
Today we're talking about the RUNE Mage Ryze, who was released February 21st, 2009.
Mm-hmm.
One of the originals.
He's one of the originals. He's officially the very first, what's it called?
Champion? I don't know what you're gonna say.
The first champion judgment.
Yeah. You were Uno.
Yeah. So, pretty big deal.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, when you're named after one of the founders,
Yeah.
That's whatever.
Although, there's another champion named after one of the founders, and man, he does not get nearly as much love.
I know, right? Like, how did that work out?
Right.
You mean Tryndamere?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ryze is
exactly,
in, like,
right? You just forgot
30
who it
cinematics
was.
and poor Tryndamere. He's got it's not even his base skin. That whole cinematic was basically just an advertisement for a skin that he got.
Yeah. Maybe when they were like in college and they were creating Riot games or whatever. I don't remember when they actually I think they were out of college.
When they had their crayons in elementary school making
in their middle school, they're like, okay, we are making video
drawing
games.
Their massive boobied champion.
And I'm married to this. Yeah. It's fair. It's fair. Nice playground agreement.
Well, on the universe page, Ryze has his bio, 2 short stories, and only 1 cinematic is linked. A twist of fate, even though he's in like 18.
Right.
Right. He narrates one of them.
He narrates one of them. Also, I know one of them is very strictly like a Ryze cinematic. I'm very surprised that one is at least not linked.
And it's newer too. But
yeah.
And
also he's got like a comic that's not linked here either.
I remember that. I remember it not being linked from way back in the brand episode. I feel like at the time we were like, oh, that's weird. It's weird that it's not linked.
We were so naive.
Oh, we were so cute. Oh my god.
Look at us with hope in our eyes.
Now instead I talk about the few things that are linked and then we go off on all the things that aren't linked,
right.
Like we know now.
This is fun timing too, because they literally just released a Katarina comic as a prelude to the Mage Seeker game, where we actually get like a lot of pretty world impacting information. That's also just
I haven't read it yet. Yeah.
On the Riot Forge page and not Universe.
Oh, cool, great.
I think are they phasing it out? Are they gonna get rid of it? I'm very confused.
It's possible. Maybe they're gonna put a lot more storytelling into the games division and like move their writers over there. Who fucking knows?
Maybe they'll keep it just so and then keep updating it with new champions, but not really adding anything aside from that. So the people who go to the League of Legends website, to learn about League of Legends, where you might go,
idiots,
they could at least see the champions.
Yeah, who the fuck knows? I hope they don't. I would like them to just make it work, make it do what it says on the tin, because it makes sense. The single repository of all this crap, but who knows?
All this crap,
all this
word
shit.
for word.
Yeah.
Oh god. Sorry. Oh god.
So what does Ryze sound like?
So when did they update his voice? His voice was updated, right?
It was at some point.
2015, I think.
Okay.
Sounds right.
Because I still just hear old Ryze so much in my head.
I will say we've had a few champions that have kind of caught us off guard with how they sound. No champion catches me off guard as consistently as Ryze.
Agreed.
I've heard his voice so many times, and literally every time I hear it, I'm like, huh?
That's not him.
Really?
That's not Ryze.
I don't know why they kept it. I mean, I get it. When in 2009, right, champions are just kind of whatever, right? Who knows? Ooh,
they were like, he's an old man. Kind of sound like an old man-ish. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Crotchety.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess when they reworked it and did the new VO, they're like, that's the Ryze. That's the Ryze fantasy. That's what Ryze players love, is some guy who smoked 4 packs a day.
Right.
Let's go.
Right? That's what I still hear. Let's go.
You've seen Rick and Morty, right? Do a bad impression. And that's...
You mean
so every guy
impression?
Just doing an impression. Yeah, I think they could have changed it completely, and people would have been like, "Oh, this is what he sounded like the whole time, right?"
Yeah,
yeah.
That's how it sounded like in my head.
Yeah,
I like Fiddlesticks, right? Where the old Fiddlesticks is just like some guy doing a spooky voice, you know.
Careful.
Careful.
I honestly don't even remember what you sounded like. All right, so what is what we talked about? How much we don't like how Ryze sounds.
It sounds like let's go. I think that's the old one though. To be fair,
yeah, that's what I hear though. That was the first thing I think I heard him say, and I was like, "What the fuck was that?" Like, it scared me. Stop yelling at me. Okay. Which one do you want to do, honey?
I'll do the first one.
Okay, I don't know what he... Like, I listened to a few of his quotes, but I didn't listen to the one that John wrote down. They want to read my scroll. It'll be the last thing they read. It sounded like a pirate, huh? That was Bilgewater Eyes. Or a Gangplank impression, I'm not sure.
It's for his skin, his Bilgewater skin.
Yeah.
Or whatever, Buccaneer.
I know, he's got like 2 of them.
Does he?
If I had a tattoo that looked like you, I'd get it removed.
You know what? You also sound like a fucking pirate. So you know
like
what? You know what? It wasn't
like you're not even off. You sound like him, and I just realized he just sounds like a fucking pirate.
I wonder how many takes they had to do in the booth where they were like, ooh, all right, pull back on the R a little bit, maybe too piratey. Don't lean into it too far. But I like where your head's at. Keep it up.
24-hour recording session. Yeah.
All right, let's get into the bio, because he's got a lot of old shit to go through, I'm sure.
By John O'Brien.
John O'Brien. All right. Ryze was a normal apprentice in, I don't know, his village got destroyed like 1,000 years ago. So I don't know. That's where he's from.
Comb. Right there. Calm. Calm is probably
Comb, like
more. Khom.
Khom. God, I don't even remember reading the name of it. I must have. Anyway.
I specifically have a note about it, which we'll get into later. That's the only reason I wrote it down.
Great.
All right.
His master's name was Tyrus of... Did we land on Helia? Is it Helia?
I like Helia.
Yes, because I think Helia sounded too dark for the place of light that it was.
Sounds too radical. Hell yeah.
Tyrus was part of an order that aims to protect world runes, which are very dangerous and powerful things. People heard about them anyways, though, somehow, and then this caused the Rune War, something that we've talked around a lot, and now we're actually going to talk about a little, I guess. This got real bad real quick, and this is when Ryze's village, blew up or whatever. Tyrus and Ryze continued to try making peace between the two sides of the Rune Wars. Ryze really did want to join a side, while Tyrus was like, no, we must remain outside of this and, find a peaceful solution. For a little bit, he thought that anyway. Over time, Tyrus he became really distanced, and Ryze discovered he had gotten his hands on 2 world runes, 1 for each hand. The power corrupted him real bad, so Ryze used all of his big boy magic to kill his mentor. Why did I write it like that? I don't know. In the moment, I was like, big boy magic. Ryze is a big kid now. Take off the training panties.
I mean, it must have been big boy magic. He just fucking incinerated a dude who had 2 world runes.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
did
props
murk
to you,
the guy
Ryze.
who
His
taught
hands
him.
were fully.
Big oversight there. He couldn't do those intricate finger movements to do the proper, like, Naruto jutsus.
It's like, oh shit, I should have got a necklace or something for them.
Keychain.
It's so stupid. Alright. The Rune Wars ended mostly because it kind of sounds like everyone just killed each other, and that's like how the war ended. Ryze didn't do jack all, neither did Tyrus.
Mission success. Another job well done.
Let's see that Sailor Moon meme.
I was gonna say, this fucking tuxedo mask, Ryze. We need that skin.
The job here is complete. You didn't do anything. Anyway, Ryze now has the 2 world runes that Tyrus had and is just wandering around collecting more in order to keep them hidden from the general public. He continuously has to resist their power. He's so strong. Good job, Ryze. And it seems people are learning of these world runes again, and they must have stopped after reading that part and then didn't get to the next part where everyone died. So they heard about the world runes and they were like, let's go get them. So now Ryze is just wandering around collecting. Gotta catch them all. The world runes. Yeah.
Poke rune.
I just couldn't stop thinking about like the hex tech crystals, and I'm like, how many like world ending little tiny objects are there in Runeterra, and how is this place still here?
There's a lot of them, that's for sure. And I think we can all agree the place is just barely there.
I suppose that's true.
I guess.
Maybe the dissolution of universe over time is like thematic.
The world rune is just going to appear in the middle, or a hex tech crystal. I don't know which one's more powerful. Which one's more powerful?
I think the world runes are more
I think
powerful
world
than the
runes.
hex
The world
tech
runes, right?
crystals.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
They make big bada boom.
Okay.
Hey, big bada boom with the world rune. Yeah.
I think he was doing a Fifth Element reference.
Oh, fuck me. You're right.
Bada boom.
Oh my
Bada boom.
god.
Bada
You're
boom,
welcome.
boom.
So, all right, a few notes on this.
Sure.
First of all, the whole thing with his town, it said there were 2 people basically with world runes or whatever, two mortal enemies basically that were fighting to kill each other.
We don't really
At
know
least one
anything
of them had
about
a world rune,
them.
maybe both of them. Who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
But it said Tyrus pleaded with their leaders to parley at the village of Combe. So like, this bitch pleaded with 2 armies who were dead set on killing each other to parley in Ryze's home village. Like, it's a real fucking dick move type. There were any number of places you could have had that parlay. You're like, well, there's a chance this could go south. Ryze, you didn't like your home, right? Just in case. Just hypothetically, if something were to happen, you wouldn't be too upset, right?
Yeah, if they came with their like magical nuclear armaments and like were really on edge. Yeah.
Fucking Tyrus.
Well, maybe he was being corrupted by the rune ring of power.
I
in
love
blue.
that this is like the Star Wars defense. When everything something happens that there's a plot hole, and they're like, "Oh, the Force pushed them, so controls everything."
It's
But the
kind of like
midichlorians,
LeBlanc, really.
though,
Yeah.
All the midichlorians Ryze has that makes them blue or purple or whatever color he is.
Violet.
It sounds like
You're turning violet.
oh my god, please give me that fan art. It's Willy Wonka and the chocolate
The
factory.
inflation rise fan art. I'm sure it exists.
It sounds like not just Combe was destroyed, like a massive amount of places around it was destroyed. So I feel like even if they didn't have it,
Dude, in
there.
Shurima, there's a lot of desert there.
I think at the time there were probably a lot of civilizations there.
Yeah, it seems like
Yeah.
I don't know.
But also
when,
a lot
though.
of
I don't know when
desert.
the world runes were compared to like Azir and his bullshit. It's world runes feel like one of the first things that happened in Runeterra to me.
Although they probably
like-
happened before or after, rather, the Shadow Isles,
They did,
It
that's
had
true.
To have, yeah.
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 from what we know of the Ruination book.
Yeah, if the Ruination book.
Check
is
out our
officially
Ruination
canon.
episode. Yeah. This timelines are fucking weird. Also, this bio specifically said that his life is abnormally prolonged by the magic he was exposed to with the world runes. But I say like a big to that, and we go with like the life water thing that we came up with in the Ruination episode.
That makes
way
more
more
sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Rather than just kind of hand wavy, magic bullshit.
Magic.
Right?
Yeah. He just
Magic
doesn't want to
Bucky.
die, so he doesn't.
I mean, it's RuneTerra.
Hashtag
Come on.
RuneTerra. Yeah.
Now, I'll mention it here because we don't get a lot of this in any of his other stories either, but it's very interesting with his current lore, how many kind of quotes he has and how big a role his massive ass scroll plays, given that like it's not fucking mentioned anywhere.
It's a really good point. I mean, that used to be such a focus of his old lore, right?
Yeah.
Was that the scroll was this really big, powerful secret thing. I had that too, that it doesn't even show up. I don't know. It seems like with Ryze, I know he's got a bunch of reworks, and they seem to have like he's got a lot of crap going on in terms of like, is it about his tattoos? Is it about his scroll? Is it about runes? Like, I don't know. Riot has like no idea what to do with him for someone who's also kind of like the main character of League of Legends. Right?
Yeah.
And now with Ruination, it feels even more like he's such a main character of League of Legends. But
Yeah.
And I think like did we ever get a visual of Tyrus?
We never did, but in Legends he's in RuneTerra, and there are world rune cards, and one of them shows little purple baby boy Ryze killing Tyrus, and so there is a visual of Tyrus there.
Does Tyrus have tattoos too?
I'd have to look, to be honest with you. I just kind of glanced at it, and I just thought it was cute that there was a little, like, 15-year-old Ryze with no tattoos, I don't think. So I don't think so. It seems like an afterwards thing. But he is purple, so take that for what you will. I don't know.
When did he turn purple, I wonder?
Well, because in the Ruination, he might not have had the tattoos, but the runes showed up on his skin for sure when he was doing magic, they said.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I don't know. Are they... I don't know. Are they even supposed to be... I guess they are from his, like, quotes, like the one that you read, that they're supposed to be tattoos. But it would make more sense that they're just, like, the rune magic thing. That's the other thing, too. Runes is, like, in a whole other part of his aesthetic that doesn't get any real explanation. Like, what is a RUNE Mage? That's one of my questions.
Right. Well, I mean, RUNE Mage itself, fairly new. He was a completely different type of mage in the old lore, which we'll get to a little bit later.
Yeah. Which I guess is kind of to the point that Riot is constantly trying, like, okay, what's the shtick this time? Like, we did runes, we did this, we did that. What else has he got? He's got boots. Okay, he's the boot mage. I don't know.
I hope that comes next. And we're going to redo his episodes, just so I can say the boot mage Ryze.
He just has 7 boots on. Just 2 boots on his head. Just a boot on each hand.
And then his game rework. You can buy 8 pairs of boots.
He just cartwheels everywhere.
You can buy 4.
I'd play it.
Yeah, I think Ryze is just... they wanted a wizard guy, so they drew him, and they were like, it would look cool. This big-ass scroll on his back. He's purple. He's got tattoos. He's bald.
Fucking tatted up like a badass.
Yeah, he's cool as hell. And then they were like, all right, well, how could we explain away all this shit? And then they've just been doing that for 20 years.
Yep. Yeah. I like the scroll better. The big scroll is cool.
Big scroll,
I like
cool.
the big scroll.
Maybe now it's just like his bedroll. That's what it looks like to me every time I see it. I think he's just carrying his sleeping bag with him.
That's what it looks like.
He does sleep under the stars a lot.
Yeah. He's old. He's probably got a bad back. I wouldn't want to sleep without a bedroll. And I'm only 34. Ryze is much older than I am.
That's true.
Yeah, but that magic will keep you spry. So don't even worry about it.
Just eating M&Ms all the time, that doesn't count.
That's kind of a rune.
They don't cover the restorative powers of M&M in the Ryze lore.
Doesn't fuse into my bones or anything. Well, whatever. Just my arteries then.
Damn, your bones are made of M&Ms. I don't know why you think that's good, but they're an exceptionally
they melt
brittle
in your
candy.
mouth, but not in your hand.
Calcium M&M.
All right. Anyway, any other thoughts on Ryze's bio?
I think kind of like the scroll. You know what really it is with Ryze is that if we had not read Ruination, I think we would be even way harsher because we would have no idea who the fuck Tyrus is.
Yeah, that's the thing. I almost wish I could have read this bio before, or I had read this bio before reading Ruination, just to like see how I kind of feel about it. Because a lot of this kind of hit me pretty hard, everything that happened with Tyrus, but I'm like, it's only because I have the context of the relationship in Ruination, and it really grew in that book a little bit. Like they had a little bit of a side plot and arc with each other, and Tyrus was recognizing he wasn't being the best mentor, and Ryze realized he was being a little shit apprentice, and they, you know, hugged and made up at the end, and that was sweet. And then like 5 years later, Ryze murks him.
Not
I
only
think it's a little later, but
I mean, not only kills him, but I thought to me it came off very ruthless. Is that in this bio, Tyrus doesn't really use the runes. They're just kind of talking, and then Ryze, the way I read it is that Ryze then just kind of made a snap decision and killed him, as though Tyrus had not even been in a position to like defend himself or like had not antagonized.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? That's how I read it.
It definitely felt like Ryze was trying to, I don't know, Minority Report the situation. He felt like he knew what Tyrus was going to do, and I guess you could say he probably did. He knows Tyrus, I assume, better than literally anyone, so I think he kind of saw the change and the darkness within him. But it was a very snap decision where Tyrus really hadn't done anything yet. He was just, it was clear he was going to use the runes to his advantage, so Ryze killed him before he did anything.
You know, if Ryze had been in Mount Doom instead of that elf, we would never have gotten Lord of the Rings.
So he would have just killed the seal door?
Right? Like, throw it in.
He would
No.
Yeah, exactly.
He would have said no. He would have said,
I'm sorry, what? Right? Let me think about it.
Instant death.
Yeah. Which is kind of in how they depict him in like the other short stories, which I like. I like Ryze as sort of a more ruthless for the greater good person.
Yeah.
But, and it reminds me of Brand, funny enough, where there's kind of this big gaping hole in terms of, I really need to see that moment because it's so defining for like Ryze's whole like course of his life, like that, you know, that relationship with Tyrus. And so really seeing what happened in that moment, or at least having a lot of time with him to reflect on it, I feel like is really important. And we just don't have it. In the same way we didn't for Brand and Ryze and how they kind of split. I need that too.
Yeah, because that's another really heartbreaking thing that happens with Ryze. We do get a short story. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I feel like it's especially because like we like think about friendships that like last a lifetime or anything like that, but there's a very good chance they were together for like hundreds, if not over 1,000 years doing the shit that they do.
And Ryze isn't heartless. Like, he forms connections with people. But yeah, there is a short story where we do see him also kill another friend over the runes because his friend was going to use the runes or was using the runes. And I almost feel like that was like their placement story instead of having him kill Tyrus. But I do think it would have been more powerful to get a short story that had that, or a way to, or both, like something that shows that moment where he kills Tyrus and flash forward to now, this is many years later, that he kills this other friend, where he really doesn't think twice about it, and then when he walks away, he doesn't feel that bad. He's just like, oh, another friend gone. What are you gonna do?
I just want another 3 short stories where he just goes around murdering his friends.
I kind of do though. You know, I think you had a really good idea about showing like how much maybe emotional turmoil it would have caused when it first happened with Tyrus and where he's at now. You can really signpost how much the character has changed. Also, you said he killed Dyrus, which I think we're going to do a lot through this episode.
Did I say Dyrus? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. I love the idea of Ryze trying to kill a sleepy Dyrus.
So he probably could kill Dyrus, but
yeah, I feel like he'd be a chump in the face of magic. He's just real good at axing things.
Well, thank God Ryze isn't real.
I think you're thinking of Darius.
You bet
Dyrus
I am.
is the human being in the real world.
I thought you were just joking. Oh my gosh.
Well, there's all sorts of confusion here. Now I understand the Sleepy Boy comment.
I was really confused for a second because I was like, is Dyrus do something with axes? I thought he had a pillow. I was just really confused.
One of those
anyway.
days. Anywho,
It's been a
short
minute. We took a
stories,
week
eh?
off. Yeah. I do want to talk about Rune Wars at some point. We can do it after, like as just after the stories.
I don't think they're relevant to Ryze.
I know, right? Like, I
put
think
them
we should
off.
save it for like Zyra.
Who's
maybe.
even
Well,
next? No one.
No one.
Literally no one. Yeah,
How
you
we
want
involved
to
with
do?
the Rune Wars?
So I think. Do y'all think that Old Friend is referencing Burning Sands? So do you like because there's a specific line in Old Friend that I think is in reference to some stuff from Burning Sands.
Maybe.
And I'm gonna need a quick refresher on Burning Sands.
Sure. Do you want? We can just do that one first. I think this is a comic.
Oh,
Burning,
okay.
no, the
no,
Burning
never mind.
Lands. Never mind. I just said it wrong. I have it written down right. The Burning Lands, but they're Burning
Same
Sands,
thing.
so you can forgive me. I think a little bit.
Yes.
All right.
So do we think? So an old friend. Do we think that's a reference to the comic? Is that
I
the
think
question?
there's a line in there that is in reference to the stuff from the Burning Lands. So I feel like it came after.
All right, I can get behind that.
All right. Well, judge me as you will. But Burning Lands.
Oh, I will.
So the only credits I could find for this were Aaron Dembski-Bowden and Anthony Reynolds-Linné. That was just off the wiki. I don't know if y'all have any more for
I
like
do not
artists and
have any
stuff. Normally there's a
better
lot
ones for
more. Yeah. Ryze is in Shurima. He's doing his rune hunting shit. And he's going with his caravan. They kick him out for being a sorcerer, and a woman from the caravan, actually their leader, I believe, named Kala, comes with him because she's getting on in years. She's not going to be alive for much longer, and she was like prophesized to do something with this purple skinned sorcerer. So Ryze
Could
kind
have
of
been another one, though.
Yeah, it could have been anyone.
there's a lot of them kicking around.
Which iteration of Ryze was she
Right.
prophesied to?
Some guy with a giant scroll comes through.
Let's go.
They travel along. They're going to get runes. They're going to get runes that Brand is going to go get, so time is of the essence. And they eventually get to the ruins of a place that a rune popped off at. They go down into it. There's a bunch of they're like the Yahoos from Time Machine, like the Time Machine. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They're like weird cave people. They're like devolved from humans. So they're racing to get to the sanctum. Kala's fighting off the cave people. And they get in, and there's the shard of the rune, and then Brand shows up. So Brand and Ryze fight. They shoot their magic at each other. The rune goes spinning off, and Kala goes to get it, and is immediately, again, super. The One Ring is like, oh, I can bring my sons back. Blah blah blah. But she fights off the temptation long enough to get it to Ryze. Ryze ults them out, and then Ryze drops the ruins of this kind of tomb thing on Brand. Berry count 1 for Ryze, and they pop out above ground. And Ryze is going to take her back to her caravan because they need a leader like that. And she says, "Oh, I was prophesized to die when I, with interacting with you." Ryze is like, "Oh, well, I guess that means we'll meet again." And Ryze goes off to continue doing his stuff.
Guess that means I'm killing you. Bye.
Well, I think he did. I'll be honest with you. We'll talk about it when we get to the other short story. But that's the end of it. They part ways. Ryze takes the rune shard.
Specifically, the green rune shard, which we actually see in the Call of Power cinematic.
Which
I'm trying to track the specific colors of the runes that we are aware of and tracking them to that cinematic.
So, in Runeterra, there are world rune cards for each of these colors, and they all mean a different one. They are, since I just got it here, what is it? Oh, where is it in my notes? Oh no, where'd it go?
It's okay.
It's gone forever.
I got it. Madness, which I think is purple. Betrayal, which is green. Violence, which is red.
Betrayal one.
Yeah, I think this is Betrayal. Violence, which is red from the Call of Power one. Hope, which is blue. And Reverence, which is yellow or gold. So.
Okay, which might be, depending on his, I don't know, I'm bad at seeing colors, but that might be the one in his splash art.
It might be. Yeah, I think so. Because it's almost like white from what I remember of it in the splash. I don't have it off the top of my eyes.
It's like a yellowish orange, I think.
I think I think from the cinematic, the one he doesn't have is Madness, because I think he has the blue one, which is Hope.
It's weird. Like, what do these mean? Like, do they?
They in Runeterra, they are these are associated with specific moments in Runeterran history. So, like, Madness is like the Dark End going crazy. Betrayal is him having to kill Tyrus. Violence, I think, was Acathia being swallowed up by the Void. Hope was actually the Ruination.
Before these happened?
No, it's okay. I don't want to get too deep into the Runeterra stuff because it's weird and like in that way that I don't know how much of this shit's canon, but I think just these color associations are what Riot is going to say. Yeah, that's the rune of blank. You know, it's the rune of being bloated. I don't know.
A lot of things happened in Runeterra that were bad. I think there's got to be more than like these 5.
No, there's only 5 bad things that ever happened
in Runeterra.
Yeah. So I don't know what it means, but it's a piece of information. We don't have a lot about the world runes, so we'll take what we can get, I guess.
Now, in this comic, we also get to see Kala testing out more arcane lines. When she says, there is always a choice.
Yeah, I think
shout out to Victor.
That's said in a lot of...
No, there's only 2 places that's ever been said. Arcane in this comic.
Sure.
I think you're right, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. I like this. I like this one a lot. I like the art, the
it
lighting in it. There's a lot of shadows like cast across everything. Ryze's face in particular is shadowed most of the time, and I think just the overall quality.
The less I see of that mug, the better.
So, there are a few panels where his face does look pretty fucking goofy. I'll have to find them later. There's like one where his teeth where he's like, I don't know. He's like, I think he's supposed to be like straining, but it's like, yeah.
I love, one of my favorite things about any comic is the words they decide to use for like their action.
The onomatopoeia.
Those are always just the best for me. There was a lot of just I think cack was the thing they used a lot for magic in this one.
I would have thought a lot of whoosh is what I would have expected.
Ooh.
Right? But it was a lot of like, I guess, sparkly lightning magic and fire magic and
cack.
And cack.
Cack.
Sounds like you're saying cock with
right?
an accent.
Fucking Bostonian saying cock.
Cack.
Take some of my cack magic.
That's the skin of you right there. That's how the Uncle Sam Ryze skin should talk with just this
right.
thick
Oh, that'd be so fucking good.
Just a thick Boston accent. Oh, that would be so fucking funny.
Get in the car.
Just get Ben Affleck in that studio right now.
Oh man.
We also get, I'm sure this wasn't intended as a Ruination reference because it didn't exist at this point, but Ryze does have a line that said, because hope was a wraith haunting me still, which, was pretty neat because, there was a wraith that was haunting Ryze through the old Ruination book. That was pretty neat.
That is true. What's also interesting is that Hope World Rune directly references like the Ruination, like as the event that it's associated with. So I don't think that was intentional, but I like his poetic description of Hope as something that's like he hates the fact that he even like has these sparks of maybe trusting someone. He would rather not do it at all, which I kind of like.
Yeah. Although I liked this. So basically, he spends a little time with her, and he says, and with time, training, maybe this warrior would be the one to take this burden from me. And I love when this line happens because, like, it happens right after she tells him that, like, her sight is going, and she has maybe 2 or 3 years tops before she's basically dead. Like, this is the replacement that you're trying to train to travel the world and fight the most powerful being.
Well, maybe the runes would make her lively again.
I mean,
Maybe.
Get rid of those M&M bones. And give her some real ones.
There's some osteoporosis joke somewhere in there. I just can't find it.
I don't know enough about osteoporosis.
I know, right? If only. I do like, so she's, the moment where she's kind of interacting with the rune, and she's like, oh, wait, could it bring my sons back? And Ryze, of course, is like, yeah, it could, but it's like, no, Ryze, just say it won't. Just say no.
I was like,
lie.
that stuck out to me too, but I like that detail because in the story we get with him and Brand, Brand does specifically say, like, I think something you told me was a lie. And Ryze is like, I'm a lot of things, and a lot of them aren't good, but one thing I'm not is a liar.
That's true.
It was a good call. Good callback, comic.
I guess
Yeah.
so.
I think good catch, honestly.
All right, we'll give it to you.
Is it because he lied a
Ryze
bunch
is
as
a lie.
a little baby Ryze, like in Ruination?
Right?
Maybe.
I feel like
Maybe.
he lied a lot in Ruinate. Maybe he feels like he caused ruin ever since then. He's like, those are the Shadow Isles, and I'm never lying again.
Right.
Also, I
Bragged
named
too
them.
much.
Yeah, he named them.
Patent pending.
Do you think he tells everyone that? He's like, oh, yeah, you call them the Shadow Isles too, huh?
I named
weird.
them the Shadow
Up with that.
Isles.
I was only 15. What did you do?
It's like Ron is like his notebook, like, oh, Shadow Isles.
A lot of angry teeth faces.
Yeah, right. And that S that everyone's always fucking drawing. Do you think people still do that? No, right?
I hope so.
All right, Gen Zs, hit us up. Do you still make the weird
still
S?
make the weird
You
S?
know-
Make the
you know-
S.
I think they did. They made it 3D, didn't they? They added lines to it.
Oh my god, nice. Good
They
job.
made a new version to make it
That's called
cooler.
innovation right there. Maybe there
Yeah.
is hope
Yeah.
for the future.
There is hope for the future. They're going to be our politicians one day with their, I hope that's the logo. The 3DS.
Cool
Look what we have
3DS.
done. Think what we could do for your country. I'd vote for him.
There was another part of this comic where, Ryze is fighting Brand, this being of pure fire. And Ryze is kind of like, it's pretty evenly matched, but Brand kind of seems to be getting the upper hand on Ryze a little bit. At which point, Kala decides that now is a good time to just jump at Brand with her little wooden spear. And it gave me such Wolverine diving at Magneto vibes. It's like, that's
gonna
what you
get him,
decided
guys.
to do.
I'm gonna get-
It goes predictably not great for her.
Look, I got one move, okay? I got one job on this ship. It's stupid. I'm going to do it. Yeah.
I also love at the end when Ryze ults away with the World Rune, and then Brand is like, I'll find you, Ryze. Like, yeah, no shit. He's probably like 200 feet away. You know how far Ryze can ult. He like just teleported behind you a few feet.
Cartoons sneak out behind him.
He was in a bush, though. Couldn't see him. It's like a Pokemon.
It's in the tall grass.
He's in the tall grass.
Yeah.
That's all I had for the comic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's cool. It's short. It's sweet. Link it.
Too much.
Right, okay. Sorry, Riot. All right.
Next up,
I'm going to do Old Friend.
let's do it.
Sure. So Ryze is in the Freljord now. He gets all over. He's looking for a fella named Yago. And he's there to get Yago to do something that Yago won't like. We don't know what, but he's really nervous about it. They meet, and they are friends. One of the few people that Ryze says he counts as like a good friend. And they chat, and they laugh, and they have good times for an hour or two. And then Ryze kind of gets around to what he's there to do, which is get the World Rune from Yago, but it keeps the trolls away, and Yago and this whole village are going to die without it. Ryze and Yago get into a fight. Ryze drops this like ice temple that they're fighting in on top of him. Berry count +1 for Ryze. And
Gotta catch up to Viego.
right, he seems to kind of like Viego in Runeterra. It's weird. I don't know, maybe he's just a fanboy. But anyway, Yago goes to get the rune, and Ryze garrotes him with his belt from his pants, and does it in kind of, like we were saying, emotionless manner. Gets the rune and limps away, and as he's limping away, this little boy who had shown up earlier when he came into the village is like, can you save us, Ryze?
Trying to do your Irish accent again?
A little Dickensian orphan comes and is like, oh,
Please, sir.
I want to live.
Drive some more.
Get me.
And for a moment, Ryze thinks about saving them, but doesn't, and just wanders off into the snow to let them get killed by trolls, I guess. I don't know.
Or to die, like if they try to flee, they'll just die from something else in the Freljord. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was the thing. He knows that they have this world rune for a while. How long have they had it? And then he's like, I come to get it now. And he's like, can you at least wait until spring? And he's like, I've heard this before. Could you just... What is he going to do now that he wasn't doing before?
He did say...
I'm very confused by this.
I kind of agree. Now, Ryze does say there is some darkness that's approaching to take it, and like that's the reason he's come to collect the rent, is because...
But it's all very vague.
Yeah. To me, it doesn't make sense that Ryze couldn't ult these people at least like 200 feet down the road. You know, fuck it.
Just help him out a little bit.
Right? Give him a little head start.
And I from what we've heard about Ryze and seen, I don't think he would have let this guy have a world rune, even if it was keeping the trolls away to begin with. I don't think he would have been okay with it.
Because this is post-Tyrus, for sure.
Yes, like this is pretty late on. He says a lot in this story. You know, he even says to Iago, like, how many people are in this village? Okay, now how many people are in the world? Because that's who I'm trying to save. Although only... just the world as a whole. If you keep annihilating these little bits of it, Ryze, there's not going to be a lot of people left. but yeah, I don't know. I think he's pretty cold at this point and really passionate. You both are gonna you both fucking. I had to hear it 3 times really because I can hear John through the headphones and outside of the headphones.
I regret it.
You're welcome.
I know you don't, but I do. Anyway, Ryze is an asshole. I don't think he would have allowed this world rune to be here to begin with. But yeah, I don't know. I'm shitting on the story. It's not a bad story. I actually didn't dislike it. But it just, it didn't really fit what we knew about Ryze to me.
Yeah, it raises questions about the character. I think I would even buy it if he was going into this with a ton of regret. Like, maybe he was younger or just in a moment of weakness was like, I can trust him and I'll give him the rune. And now coming to it, he realizes how he has set them up for failure, ultimately, really. So it's that would work. Maybe just do that. I don't know.
You know what was the turning, or like the tipping point for me? I can, like, you know, him choking him out with the belt, cool. Him abandoning the village, cool. But then it also says that he wrapped the rune, instead of touching it with his hands, he wrapped it in a scrap of his dead comrade's robe. Like, there was literally nothing else you could have wrapped it with. Like, you didn't have a bag you could put it in? Or what about the belt? That you just... you had to fucking rip your friend's clothes off and wrap the rune.
They're there. He's dead. He's
like,
not gonna...
so he's looting in Fallout. Just leave a bunch of nude bodies.
I need these paper clips. Sorry. Okay, so
also,
the line... No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Well,
Fine,
mine was dumb, but...
The line that I think references the Burning Lands, he gets there to Iago, and he's talking about the things he's had to do, and he says, I went down to Shrima to investigate these nomads who had suddenly gotten super powerful, and turns out they had a world rune, and he seems to be feeling a lot of regret, and talks about having to do horrible things to do what he's doing. Now, that group from Burning Lands it seemed to me to be pretty nomadic. My assumption is that he came back and ended up having to kill Kala, because she ended up getting tempted by the world runes and thus fulfilling the prophecy of her dying when Ryze is there. I don't know if that's the case.
No, I can see that.
I like that. It's way better than my read on it.
Oh, yeah? What was your read on it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Star Wars reference.
Great.
He went to the desert and he murdered all of them. The women and the children. But I like your thing better.
Gotta sneak it in where you can.
Sure. We've already had our Star Wars reference.
Well, we get more with Ryze.
I also like that in the middle of the fight, Ryze ran out of mana. And like,
he did.
And like, that's what fucking happens when you take mana pots out, Riot. You did this.
I
am curious about if he's done this before and if this had any effect on him. I am going to say I think there's a really big difference between using your magic to kill someone and physically killing them with your hands.
Well, he used a belt to be...
that he used with his hands.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, you're right, honestly. It's a pretty cold-blooded thing, you know? Which I kind of like with Ryze. I'm liking him being a little kind of ruthless. I don't know about leaving children to die ruthless, but there's a middle ground somewhere between those 2 points.
I agree, yeah.
Like maybe recuperate a little bit, get your mana back, and maybe fight off a troll or two.
Can't wave crashing top
pretty
lane.
Strong.
Maybe, you know what?
Kind of backdoor.
Especially like, given that the cinematic highlights him fighting a troll. Like,
you know what?
We know you do that shit.
Let's take the lenient, the optimistic approach, and let's say that that scene happened after this, and he went to go like parlay with the trolls to keep them from killing these children and shit. He confronted Trundle because he's a hero.
Yeah.
We're gonna say that. Also, there's a moment in here where YOLO, what's his name? Yago.
You got it.
Yellow swag. Yeah, Yago hits him with some magic, and it says it's like the force of 20 suns. And I like that, like 20, no more, no less, right?
And Ryze would know.
I have that specific note here. I said that is an oddly specific sensation to know the feeling of.
Right?
He's like, oh, no, I felt this before. Yeah, this is the 20 sun hit.
This is 20. No, I'm good. Don't do 25.
I'm glad he didn't use his 25 on me. Thank God.
Yeah.
So one thing about that, so they never really specify what the dark forces coming after the rune are. But given that this is in the Freljord, like, so this is something, I don't know if this is touched on in Runeterra much, but I feel like something that is not explored anywhere in the lore specifically, despite being hinted at in lots of places, is exactly how many of the runes, like, the Void seems to control. Like, in his cinematic, he's fighting like a Vel'Koz looking asshole for the red one, which he gets. In his splash art, he's fighting another Vel'Koz looking motherfucker for like the yellowy orange one. And he's in the Freljord, and there are dark forces coming after this too. There's a very good chance that's another like fucking Void bullshit coming to get this one too. Like, what does the fucking Void want with all these Void rune, or these world runes too? And like, where's that story at?
That's a good question. I mean, you can easily suppose as to what they want. I do like the idea that it is just Vel'Koz, and it's like a Tom and Jerry or Roadrunner type situation happening.
Oh my god, I love that. They're both purple. Other things.
You know, etc. In another life, I could have called you brother. But, you know, that's a question I had about runes, and this is Rune War shit, is like, how many runes are there? Or how, like, because it's shards and runes. Like, how many are there? Because if there's a lot, it makes Tyrus and Ryze and Helia, to an extent, look less incompetent. Because if there's only like 5, it seems like they really fucked up. I know they got ruined and shit, but like they did not do a good job.
No, they did not. And Ryze already has a bunch, it feels like. So is his job almost done? What's he going to do afterwards? Is he just going to eat him? Like, he's going to bury him under a tree? Carve Vel'Koz's name into it?
Aww.
Little heart.
The love that dare not speak its name.
So
Vel'Koz doesn't have a mouth.
Love through disintegration.
Oh my god.
That's kind of romantic.
novel.
Name of their sex tape.
It's hardcore,
I was gonna
man.
say I don't want to see that, but you know what?
I've seen weirder shit.
First of all, yes. Second of all, yeah, I'd watch it.
Just a little listen or watch. I know I said listen.
Mark doesn't want to see
He doesn't
that.
want to commit
He
to
just
it,
wants to hear
but
it.
those squelching noises
I want my
really.
imagination to run wild. You know what I mean? Let's go.
I was waiting for the Ryze edition to come out for that. We gotta move on to
From the Ashes by what I think is a new name. It doesn't sound familiar.
yeah.
I mean, we've done this story before, but I
Yeah.
don't remember any other stories that this person's done. Aaron Dembski Bowden.
They have the credit on the comic, so I wonder if they. God, did they do the brand bio and we just have forgotten because it's been so long?
No,
don't know.
it was John O'Brien, unless he did an older version of it, which is possible.
Oh, then I don't know. I didn't have a lot of notes for this one because it's mostly a Brand / Keegan story.
Yeah. We just talk about it a lot in our brand episode.
Yeah.
I was struck
Forever ago.
upon the reread of like, man, this story still hits.
It's good.
It's good.
It's very
Yeah.
good. Absolutely. For Ryze's part, he is playing the mentor to the uppity Keegan Road, who is Brand before he's Brand. A lot of it's going into Keegan's backstory, but there are moments of kind of the quote-unquote present where they're interacting, and Ryze is trying to teach Keegan about magic, and Ryze is obviously like way more experienced, way more like intellect. He's much more learned, whereas Keegan's like a barbarian, so he's trying to explain what the Aurora Borealis is to Keegan, and it's like, you can't explain that type of shit to him. I mean, their interactions are the kind of things you would expect from that relationship. Keegan wants to use magic, and Ryze is trying to teach him patience. But at the end, they kind of hint at the future trouble, which is that Keegan has kind of deduced that there is some sort of power of creation type thing, a rune, even though he doesn't have the word for it. He just kind of has the concept of it in his mind, and it scares Ryze, and it's like the first time Keegan's seen fear in Ryze's demeanor. So, hint for problems to come.
Yeah. There were Ryze has a quote in here where Brand says something, I don't know, Brand says something smart, like smart alecky. And Ryze is like, and there it is, the wisdom of a barbarian who cannot yet read or count past the number of fingers on his hands.
He's so mean and condescending.
Which, this sounds exactly like someone that the Ryze from Ruination would grow up to be.
Oh my god, you're right. He really didn't grow as much as I thought he had. Yeah, I think the relationship with Ryze and Keegan hits harder as well because of Ruination, because I think Ryze is making so many of the same mistakes that Tyrus made that he really criticized and was frustrated by. So obviously they can't acknowledge that in this story because it existed before the Ruination. But now I can imagine that Ryze just doesn't realize this maybe until it's too late, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's kind of the thing where you grow up and you have like the things that are maybe bad in the way you are raised can sometimes be echoed in the way you raise, the way you mentor or raise or kind of grow to be.
Become.
Yeah, you become. Yeah, he kind of has, and I like that this moment where Keegan, I think, kind of poses to Ryze, is it that I'm a bad student or you're a bad teacher or something like that? And I kind of like the idea that Ryze is not a good teacher.
He's not.
Yeah.
And he kind of knows it. Because he
Yeah.
responds to that too with like, you know what, I ask myself that all the time.
Yeah.
There's another quote here too. I liked that instead of measuring years by like years, it was like, he has scarcely the chill of 19 winters in his bones. Americans will use anything but the metric system, am I right?
And yes.
You got the chill of 19 bags of M&Ms in your bones.
That warms me up. I don't know what you're doing.
Ryze also has a quote here that says,
I want some fucking M&Ms right now.
I know, right? What have we done?
Sponsor us.
Please.
Mr. M&M.
One free bag. That's all we want.
Anyway, sorry.
Ryze has a quote that I think Brand probably said something like it's this is supposed to be easy or some shit. He's like, it is simple, perhaps, but not easy. Which is that was a trail quote. People use that shit on the trail all the time when we were hiking.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah, they're like the trail is difficult but simple, and then real life is complicated but easy.
I don't agree with that at all.
I was gonna say, I feel like real life's just complicated and difficult.
Right.
It's the worst of both worlds.
Because it depends on, like, well, anyway, that's just... Any other thoughts on From the Ashes?
Nah, that's about it for me.
Yeah. It's a good one if you're going to read a story, especially to know about Brand in particular.
Yeah.
And really feel for him, because I really feel for Keegan a lot.
Yeah, I just want one story to connect Keegan and Brand and make them the same character, and just it's doable. So.
And then we also he shows up in. I mean, we have a whole episode about it, so we're not going to get too deep into it. But Ryze does show up in the Ruination novel, where he is much younger, still apprenticing under Tyrus at this point.
A teenager for sure, right? I think they mentioned. Yeah.
Blessed Isles is still blessed. It has not been ruined yet until the end. Spoiler. In
the Ruination? No.
And I think that the big thing we learned about Ryze from the Ruination book that we didn't know before was just how direct a part he played in the Ruination. He was pretty damn responsible for it.
I mean, he is one of the things that had to fall into place for the Ruination to happen. We joked about a lot of laying blame. It's Viego's fault, the Ruination. But yeah, he is one of the things that if he didn't do certain things, it would have happened.
Yeah, and Thresh. I would put equal blame on both of them. A lot of even Viego's shit was Thresh luring Viego out.
That's fair. It's fair.
But yeah, the entire reason they're even able to get into the holy water area where all that shit goes down, Ryze fucking gets them in there.
Yeah.
Unlocks the runes for him. Mm-hmm. And also drinks the water of life, which is what gives him unnatural length of life, not exposure to magic or riot.
It was magic radiation. I'm pretty sure it was magic radiation. I was just gonna say,
Rads +3.
Man, it really is Fallout, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you think about the knock-on effects of the Ruination and how it did fuck up Helia and all of their efforts to contain the runes, you would think that I would like that to carry forward if they did more Ryze stories, right? Like he seemed like he'd be weighted down with a lot of guilt, right? He would be like, man, I really in some ways was very directly responsible for ultimately the Rune Wars in some ways. I don't know.
Yeah. Good job, Ryze.
You did it.
Hey, at least he named the Shadow Isles, okay? He got that in the win column.
Made up for it.
Now, he also shows up in, he's mentioned in The Burning Vengeance, which is the Brand bio by Ariel Lawrence and Laurie Golding, which, Ryze plays an obvious role here. And he shows up also in The Echoes Left Behind by Anthony Reynolds Lene, which is where we find out that at some point, Ryze has killed the spectral version of Ledros and banished him back to the mist.
Why?
We don't know.
Yeah.
There was a list of people that had killed Ledros and banished him back to the mist, and Ryze was amongst them.
Yeah, I remember that being a little trivia thing. Callista, I think it was the episode we talked about it. It's a lot more interesting of an idea now. I would really like to see it like that story now,
We know so much more about Ledros now.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it's strong. The idea that Ledros still is still very much himself in the mist is just so rare. And that what if Ryze just doesn't know that? He just went up to Ryze like, hey, buddy. And Ryze was like, oh, fuck. Just blasted him. Anyway, I started blast. Yeah. That's who Ryze is. Honestly, that's the meme I need. It's Frank Reynolds. He's just Frank Reynolds.
It's just descending down in a downward spiral.
Doing cocaine and shooting his gun randomly. That's Ryze, baby.
That's right.
That's Ryze.
Oh shit!
I like to think he was like, I think a world rune could probably bring Callista back. And he's like, what did you say?
Do not utter those foul words in my presence. That's what Ryze should sound like.
like a Garen type almost.
Get me in the booth. I'll do it. Let's go.
Okay,
Don't change any of the quotes. Let's just re-record them with this new vision.
It's bold new vision. I love it.
We got
You
some
know what?
old lore.
Get Danny DeVito.
Right?
Danny DeVito, I think, can do a good Ryze.
He's already kind of got that, like, that not quite Boston, but kind of Boston.
Got Jersey, man. He's from Jersey. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Old lore.
I'm trying to get past this mental image you put in my brain
Yeah, yo.
of Frank Reynolds' Ryze.
Frank Ryzelds.
Nailed it.
It's hard.
Got it in one.
Shut up.
Frank Runolds.
That's
That's
better.
pretty
Fuck you.
That's pretty good.
You're always so much funnier than me. Better jokes. Tell me about the old lore.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm
old
not making
lore.
a single joke the rest of the podcast. Somehow, everyone just breathed a collective sigh of relief. Rebecca's finally gonna shut the fuck up.
No.
I gotta say, I'm trying to eat a little healthier, and that one glass of wine will really do it.
Okay, I wondered what was going on.
Uh-huh. No, I just wrote down the old bio because there's a lot of separate points here that I feel like you really got to hear.
This is so long.
All right, I guess you don't have to hear it.
I was just saying it's long. I wasn't making a joke, remember? I wouldn't do such a thing.
On the podcast? Oh, no.
Podcast, a joke? No. It's a statement.
All right, well, let me just read the first line for you. Mm-hmm. Raised from the age of 2 inside the Magi's Academy for Unpleasant Boys.
I didn't read this one. I didn't know what the... Hold on.
This is his OG bio.
Oh, okay.
You know what? He is pretty unpleasant.
Ryze has never really fit in with his peers, though his disciplinary record might prove otherwise. At the age of 7, Ryze snuck into the professor's quarters and used a bolt of electricity to singe the hair from the headmaster's prized poodle, Yips. At 9, he mixed an ordinary laxative into a bunch of fire-breathing potion his chemistry teacher was preparing for a class field trip.
My God, that is well, I feel like as a millennial definitely wrote this because that was like such a running joke.
Oh
in
yeah,
so many.
mixing laxatives into shit. Oh, that
Yeah.
was peak humor.
Yeah,
Sure.
That was it was so good.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Austin Powers.
That old Ryan Van Wilder.
Oh, Van Wilder. Yeah.
No, I'm trying to think of one. I can't. I can't. I'm drawing
There
a
had to
blank.
be one in American Pie, right? I
There
don't think I
had
ever
to have.
finished
There
it.
was, yes. Who was
whole-
it?
the whole
I've never
Trinity.
even seen that
the
fucking
nerdy
movie.
guy. Yeah.
Well done.
At the age of 12, he dismantled the school Zeppelin and reassembled it inside the library.
So he's just like the Jim Halpert
yeah.
of the Magi's Academy for Unpleasant Noise.
He's the most
Is he always just
unpleasant
looking
boy.
at the camera?
Now that's the cinematic I want. Just Ryze in an office, pranking his coworkers and fucking
Brand is Dwight.
goofing it to the camera.
Putting their scrolls in Jello.
It also said 6 months later, he was caught drawing runes of binding onto every chair in the Academy's auditorium, and it took 2 full days to unglue the entire student body after the Witch's Day ceremony.
So
Okay,
they all just
that's-
have to like shit in their chair?
Maybe.
I'm liking this.
No,
I
they're
like that
they're
one.
wizards, honey.
very
Right.
They
concentrated.
magic
They
away
magic
their
it
shit.
away.
Oh,
Yeah, I like this like Harry Potter lens that this is all through. Right.
Now, it said the final straw came when Ryze picked a fight with the first-year professors, all of them. Though none of the new teachers were permanently injured, the resulting blast knocked down an entire wing and crushed poor Yips.
He killed a dog?
Whose hair never really grew back, which is a weird thing they have here. They said the word crushed, but then they also implied maybe that he just lost his hair. I don't know.
No, because he fucked up his hair earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he's dead. Sorry,
I think
Yips.
he's dead. I
No,
think he was
he's
crushed to
dead,
death.
John. I think they were referencing.
He just went to the farm.
They were referencing when Ryze singed all
He's
his
just
hair
smelling
off.
the tulips. His welcome having worn out, Ryze left the academy to continue his education on his own. In the intervening years, he studied every magical text he could, including the incredibly powerful Arc Scroll, which he carries upon his back. He meticulously catalogs every spell he's encountered, going as far as tattooing the most rare and super powerful incantations directly onto his own skin. His studies have led him to the League of Legends, where he hopes he can continue to gather more arcane knowledge and grow his already impressive repertoire.
Okay.
Interesting.
I do also like just the phrase tattooing the most rare and super powerful.
No, Mom, you don't understand. These are like super duper runes. See how they're shiny? And the shiny one.
That's
it's
Rune's
really rare.
holographic.
Don't take it out of its plastic coating, Mom.
I wish I read that bio. That's more interesting than the ones I read.
Right?
The ones I read got rid of all that fun shit. They just made
Aw. There's no academy for unpleasant boys.
them... No.
They really should have known what they were getting into by having that academy and then inviting unpleasant boys to it.
No, they say he doesn't get along with his peers. Like, do any of them get along? They all sound very unpleasant. Anyway, rest in peace, Yips.
Rip, yip.
Rip, yip.
Rip Yip. I almost said Rip Yip. I was like, I can't say Rip Yip. Don't do it. You guys did it
Well,
for
that's why
me.
we're
I
here.
got you. Yeah. Now, I talked about the judgment. Unless you wanted to go into anything in the older bios or the other bios.
Well, the older bios are only necessary for understanding what's happening in the judgment, and that is that.
Oh, okay.
That is, I mean, it's pretty much the same shit without all the pranks. He really likes magic.
What?
And he's
They
into...
took out the best part?
They really did. It's a lot less fun, frankly. And he's into something called thorn magic, which is where you tattoo spells on yourself. And the scroll is super secret. They don't give it a name.
Nothing to do with Zyra? Okay.
No. But there is a judgment. The very first one, right? Yes, we said that already. So, with judgments, I've learned not to know what to expect. But I did not expect
Can't
erotic tattooing to be the bulk of this judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's really all it is. It's how Ryze got his thorn tattoos. And he got it from some Dami mommy named Lilith, I think her name was.
Yeah, Lilith.
Who gave him them tats.
This was before Vel'Koz. He hadn't known love
he
yet.
didn't
He
know
was just
true
finding
love.
himself.
Yeah.
Just wanted to be a little free. But yeah. She's kind of like, what it came off a lot like is Evelyn as she is now. Is almost the way. But she's like a super powerful witch. And she's really into straddling your back and tattooing you. And then making you turn around.
So what is he being judged for? His judgment is some hot lady climbed on top of him and sexily tattooed him and rubbed her boobies on him or something?
I mean,
Pretty much.
That is what happened. I think the other thing is that he went there purposely because he's trying to find her and get that thorn magic. He's very thorny. And
Sure.
the other big deal is that she was the one who had the scroll, and he stole it from her because he realized she's fucking cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So
Who isn't?
that's it. But the erotic tattooing really takes the cake on that one.
Yeah. And yeah, it basically just says he knew she was going to do something reckless with the scroll, so he had to take it.
I get New Ryze would have just killed her, I guess. So
Yeah. We don't know what happened to Lilith because I looked through every variation of her bio, of his bio, I think. Literally the only reference to Lilith anywhere in history is this judgment.
Yeah.
Maybe
I
they
think this was
realized
supposed to be
wasn't the best idea.
a reveal, you know? Like, ooh, here's this name, and maybe she'll show up later. And then they never did.
Right? They fucking loved doing that shit back then.
Yeah.
Never forget. What was that fucking wind dragon's name?
Oh, not Ao-Shin, no.
Ao-Shin? Yeah, it was. Because then they added him into TFT as a consolation prize.
But yeah, if you're into like, I don't know, ink play, I don't know what they call it, where you do sex tattoos, you might like this judgment.
Every kink in the ink.
That's really good. That's very good.
Now he does show up in a few Journal of Justice articles. Episode 6. We find basically that Ryze now works in conjunction with the League to discover lost magic and deepen the understanding of modern magic. And this is also, even when this came out, Ryze is still a Thorn Mage. While knowledge of Thorn magic seems to be pretty widespread at this point, he's still thought to be the only practitioner. And then we have an episode 11, Mailbag of Justice. Ooh. Where someone was like, Zillion's affliction with chronodysplasia and his struggle to find a cure is common knowledge by today's standards, but little has been said on his current status. Has he made any breakthroughs? Is he recruiting the help from Ryze or Heimerdinger? Since it's considered a disease, would Dr. Mundo have any valid input?
No. Even old Mundo would have.
How dare you?
Sorry.
But you'll be happy to know he has been in constant consult with Ryze. And they used a magic similar to that used by the summoners on the Fields of Justice to fix it. And as Zillion is seized with visions from the exact point in time that Urtisan was destroyed, which for the record is the old town that was destroyed before
Icathian.
He shares his mind with Ryze, who examines the illusion for anomalies. So far, they've been able to pinpoint distinct pockets of strange energy. They found the most powerful and puzzling energy source emits a magical aura that gives off a waveform nearly identical to that of Zillion's own mind. Beyond that, the Journal of Justice staff has no further knowledge.
I love it. Ryze doing like magic hospice care. I'm just
this old man.
These old dudes with their chronodysplasia.
Imagine. I don't think he'd have very good bedside manner.
Oh no.
Some elderly fellows like walking along. He's like, let's go.
I'm here to help, I swear. Just a pirate. Wow, that was really piratey. I'm so sorry.
The world ruins.
Oh.
Right.
Arr, you gotta get him. Oh shit, I told a joke. I wasn't supposed to.
You can edit that out, right?
Yeah, I'll edit that out, don't worry.
You'll edit it out. No, that's a joke.
I'll edit it out of the video. Issue 30, The Mailbag of Justice. So as a summoner of the League, I was wondering, what are the opinions of already highly regarded mages and champions, especially Ryze, on the introduction of Xerath to the League of Legends and his magical powers? Now, this was responded to by one of the editorial writers from Noxus.
Yeah,
so there's a lot
guy.
of fucking sass in this one.
Okay.
This was Alex Yee's character.
Sassafras.
Yeah. If you want to see baby Alex Yee writing some Journal of Justice shit, this is it. No big mysteries here. Mages are inherently pompous and self-important. The appearance of every arcane dabbler on the Fields of Justice is always followed by a ritualistic group assertion of the inadequacy of his specific talents. Then, if the rookie hasn't washed out or accidentally incinerated himself with the backwash of a spell, assuming here that you trust Annie's dubious claims of non-involvement, these assertions are chased by insistence that the new brand of magic is somehow a perversion of everything right and sensible in the world, and completely unlike all the previous perversions which, by virtue of critical exhaustion, have become right and sensible. This said, I ferried your missive to Ryze anyhow, just to validate my point. And Ryze says... Let's see if I can do this in a Ryze voice. The creature called Xerath is an abomination of a mage. To master magic is not to lose oneself to it entirely. The power at his command, however great it might be, he's holding in a feeble grasp. His own will can't match the will of the arcane. The ancient mages of Shurima did everyone a favor locking Xerath away, and the Institute of War would be wise to follow their example.
It's not piratey enough.
Sorry.
Mr. Krabs is what's happening here. You're doing a Mr. Krabs voice.
It's a good middle ground.
Yeah. SpongeBob, meet world runes. Me first rune.
Ryze is a little Krabby Patty, isn't he?
Oh.
He is.
Yeah, that's old lore. He's got a lot of cinematics, y'all.
He's in so many. I've never seen your cinematics list this long
It's
before.
so long.
And it will never be this long again.
It will never be. I think it might. He's probably the most. He's got to be
I think
the most,
so.
for sure.
Yeah, I think you're right.
If Katarina wasn't, and we've already done Katarina.
Yeah.
And Ari, yeah.
Now this one, the first one, Call of Power, is kind of like the only canon one, I would say. Which has a lot of very cool vignettes if you haven't seen it. It also, let's see, what was my note here? I don't have any good notes here. We talked about them already. It was nice to see Sona in a cinematic that was not a pentakill cinematic. That was neat.
Yeah, she doesn't get a lot.
But yeah, this basically is just him traveling around, fighting people in pursuit of world runes. We only see him actually get one, though.
When was this released?
It's a big deal. Got a whole rune, not even a shard, I assume. I don't know.
It's true. I have no way to differentiate. They all look the same fucking size to me.
Yeah.
We do see he's missing what seems to be one. There's like one empty space at the end.
4 years ago. Okay.
Yeah, I think, again, going by the Rune Terror ones, it's the Madness one. Again, it's the purple one. He needs purple.
He needs the purple one.
How
He's going to give it to
appropriate.
Vel'Koz.
As a gift. Purple like us. Symbol of our love.
Yeah, it's real cool.
Now, he was also in Clash of Fates. He's not, like, featured as one of the standout people. He's just kind of one of the silhouettes in the final shot. And this is, like, the original trailer for the game. The original one.
So good.
Yeah.
And then we've got the first actual, like, cinematic for it, Welcome to League of Legends, which follows Ryze rushing to rescue Kayle, who's being fucking destroyed by a Morgana Nasus combo. He runs through a Cho'Gath, he helps Master Yi and Ashe kill a Warwick, and he still somehow shows up in time to make the rescue. And we also see summoners in this cinematic.
Yeah. Well, he uses Ghost. That's how he gets around so fast.
He does. It's a, they do demonstrate him using Ghost and avoiding unit collision to run through the Cho'Gath and the tower. The tower debris, they had tower debris before... Yeah. This was the first instance of tower debris.
Prophetic.
I didn't actually rewatch these ones. I'm sure he shows up in the parodies of this cinematic too.
Yeah. He throws like a tennis ball instead of a Q or something for Nasus in one of them, I remember. I think that's the only one I remember.
And he shows up in the Dominion cinematic. Jarvan, Lux, Teemo, Aurelia, and Ryze are taking on Malphite, Cass, Swain, MF, and Mord. So Ryze and J4 walk through an entire MF ult without taking any damage. And then Ryze starts fighting Mord. And then we see the awful haunting eyes of a Teemo. They 2v1 more and kill him, and Ryze just kind of sits back for the rest of the cinematic while the rest of his team just tries to fight people without him, and then he pops in at the end for that big climactic freeze frame.
Yeah.
Oh, we also, in this cinematic, we get to see the best, like, backbending, look over the shoulder riot stance ever from Lux.
Oh, her fucking power. I love it.
Oh, it's so good.
I love that shit. She lands. And oh my god. I love this trailer in general. Aurelia fucking ulting the fucking minions and then just like dying from a single cast E, and she just falls like a sack of bricks. Oh god.
Yeah. There's good reason it was never officially released.
I know I've said it before, but I remember seeing it when we were at Riot, and there's like, hey, here's something we're not releasing, but check it out. And I remember thinking, wow, this looks so fucking good. Why are we not releasing this? Just polish it up a little. No.
Yeah. They had the right instincts on that one.
Yeah.
And then he shows up in a twist of fate, which I do. It was a cool cinematic. I distinctly remember this being kind of like, this will really highlight one of our first cool skins that we've done with like the Demon Blade Tryndamere. And I think it was all kind of an excuse for that. But yeah, it was a big jump up in quality from the previous cinematics. And it's fun to go back and watch it too, because look how fucking ridiculous Fiddlesticks looks. Right. he's just crazy. That was such a good rework.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then a Mac client launch.
Oh yeah, seeing it, John?
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
So his scroll is in it.
You mean his bedroll?
His bedroll.
His
Sleeping bag.
Maybe he just sleeps on the scroll.
Maybe.
Okay, the AUs are less than I thought.
No, I mean we're still here on the cinematics.
This is the cinematics.
She's just trying to breeze past.
I did scroll down, and we're still on this.
I was trying to breeze past. I didn't think there were 5 more. Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, there's 6 more.
Okay, I was close.
We got Road to the Cup, which is the Studio Mir Worlds 2013 animation, where Ryze is played by CJ Entis Blaze's player Flame. Yeah, they're all just fighting to get to the top of this cup. We've seen it before. And then he was in Warriors, the 2014 World Cinematic. Ryze is one of the rock figures near the beginning of the song. Whew. Then he was in Ignite, the 2016 World Cinematic, where Faker's Ryze is heavily featured. He leads his team to destroy the enemy to end this video. Then he was in Make History, which is a 2018 mid-season invitational cinematic, where Ryze, Lucian, Caitlyn, and Cassiopeia and Janna are working together for victory.
Oh my god.
Then he was in Ryze, the 2018 World Cinematic.
R-I-S-E.
R-I-S-E. Where Faker's Ryze is again heavily featured, leading the final confrontation against Ambition's Jarvan. And then finally, and most recently, Ryze's 10-year Realm Warp, which where Ryze takes us on a journey through the evolution of League, through metas, memes, and all that good stuff. It's actually a pretty funny video. If you haven't seen it, I give it my stamp of approval. And it ends with the self-burn on how many Ryze reworks we've got.
I read that as, I give it my shrimp of approval.
I give it my shrimp of approval, folks.
The least sexy way to
my
describe
jumbo
a dick.
shrimp.
The side of cocktail sauce.
Now I have a few quotes here that stood out to me before we get into the AUs, since, these are canon. He has a quote that says, "Things to do today. Find food, build shelter, fix the world." Which very much sounds like Ryze is playing like an open world survival game. He's just
12
he's got meters
side
everywhere.
Quests, like highlighted.
Ryze is fucking punching the trees down in the fucking jungle. I
have
it.
made X. He's got a quote to ASOL that says, "Space called. It wants its arrogant jerk back."
He's still an unpleasant boy.
And also, are there phones here?
Oh my god, you're right. Oh my god.
Or are people just calling out?
Space called. They just yelled down. Is that what the call said?
He's got a quote to Mal's. Hey, you're the one who summons bloodthirsty void creatures, right? Yeah. Brilliant work. Good thinking.
He's such a dick.
He really is. Passive aggressive, unpleasant man.
Ryze and Jinx both share the quote, Zap.
Nice.
And Ryze and Dragon Trainer Tristana and Senna share the quote, Keep your distance.
They just don't like. They have their personal space.
Yeah. But yeah, that's those are quotes. Now it's AU time, baby. And there's actually not as many AUs as there are cinematics, which is definitely a first.
Yeah, that's wild. I imagine a lot of his skins maybe just don't have.
I would think so.
Yeah, a lot of them don't have lore because he's got a bunch of
like old ones, and
championship skins.
Oh yeah,
and,
that
like,
too.
She has
all
less
that shit.
skins than I thought too, but yeah.
There's a bunch of the older ones show up below.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
So first one, we have Bloodstone, set in a world of the Bloodstone, where each champion is a Bloodstone cultist. And this one is Dark Crystal Ryze.
It's so disappointing.
And there's no lore blurb.
Bloodstone.
It's a helmet bro, though, maybe.
Ooh.
Kind of. I mean, it's different helmet. But it's an AU, so they have a different helmet, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
That's facts.
I like that.
We've got prehistoric hunters. Gargantuan monsters roam our land, stalking their prey with frightening precision. Humans would surely become their next meals if not for the hunters. Armed with blades crafted from the bones of their first kills, with instincts that rival the most fearsome of beasts, the hunters protect their people each day from a grisly fate. And this one is Tribal Ryze, with no lore blurb.
Isn't this one just like the
there
Kratos skin, like in game? Except it's
it's
blue.
like he's Ryze, but he's not purple, and there's a dinosaur in the background.
Pretty much, yeah. Next up, we've got Wonders of the Universe. Individuals hailing from the far-flung universe of Earth, where giant statues come to life, and everyone's wearing a fun hat. It's a lot like Runeterra, if you think about it. This one is Uncle Ryze. Uncle Ryze wants you to get on the rift.
This is very Bioshock Infinite looking.
Fun fact about this one, this is the first splash art where the champion themselves is not physically present.
Yeah, it's a picture of him.
Very good.
Next up, we got Rift Quest. Dangers lurk in the land of Runeterra. Powerful monsters, dastardly sorcerers, and mythical creatures roam unchecked. Gather your friends and create your own adventure for 3 to 5 players. Vanquishing evil with each roll of the die. Do you have what it takes to save the world and become a legend of Rift Quest? This is Ryze Whitebeard, who plays the wizard of the party. Ryze likes to take time out of his rune hunting to play games of Rift Quest as a tome-wielding, scroll-protecting wizard, also named Ryze. The difference he will often point out is that his own beard is black, where Ryze Whitebeard's beard is white.
That's great.
Plus, he has a hat.
That's something somebody would do in a D&D campaign. For sure.
I love it.
And there's actually a short story here called Journey to Thy Golden Mustache, where Braum is running a D&D campaign.
Oh, yeah.
And, Ryze basically wants to be himself, and then Varys gets mad because he's like, I want to be a wizard with great power, carrying an enchanted tome with a magical scroll. Varys is like, come on, brah. That's you. Come on. That's you. They're like, no, my beard will be white. That's what Ryze sounds like in this AU, and you can't prove otherwise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It really is just the grown-up version of that nerdy kid that you were doing. Mom, my super-duper power. I will say, if you were just a wizard with a big old scroll and you're going to play D&D, You just by yourself.
Do what you know?
Yeah.
Or would you do something really like, I get to be like a peasant?
Oh my god, I'm a barista.
Yeah.
Maybe they play like just regular world characters.
Although imagine being like a really powerful sorcerer and then playing a D&D campaign where you have to start at level 1. You're like, what the fuck? I can do way better shit than this. Just IRL. I don't want to use a fucking cantrip. I can teleport. Next up, we got Arcana. High above Arcana, the archetypes, living patterns that shape reality itself, struggle to trace their vision upon the chaos below them. The archetypes recruit perceptive citizens of the world below to amplify their hidden patterns, and the more who magnify an archetype's pattern, the more the world reflects their grand design. Which I feel like this is a new blurb. I don't remember this blurb. This blurb.
It's a new skin line in general.
Yeah.
I feel like we've even done other Arcana ones, but like this, it sounds like they changed this blurb to sound way more like how magic works in Ixtal. It's weird.
Interesting.
But this one's Arcana Ryze, who is a secret keeper and didact whose power dwells in his mind and hands. Tasked with quietly solving the problems of the world with little fanfare or recognition, he prepares to fix whatever chaos the fated lovers caused before retreating back to obscurity, serving as a role model to the talented but forgotten.
Don't worry, I know magic. It's all up here and in here and
these hands. We got Guardians of the Sand, set in an alternate Shurima, where all the champions are Tomb Raiders, Ancient Tomb Guardians, or evil spirits of the desert. This one is Guardians of the Sand Ryze. Ryze, the eternal conservator, ancient guardian of the sands, we invoke thee to protect us from an evil of our own making. Let no man tread upon these hallowed grounds, lest your righteous magic entomb them beneath the dunes. Also, this just reminded me...
Nope.
Hiding a rune in a ruin is a dick move. Hide it anywhere else, but you're just confusing people. Next up, we've got Academy. Blah, blah, blah. Blah, blah, blah's law blog. Attention students and faculty. It has come to our attention that all students are currently facing disciplinary action and all professors are on suggested psychiatric leave. Class will be canceled until further notice, perhaps a time when the aforementioned suspended students have re-examined their abysmal behavior. This one is Professor Ryze. To all students of Runic Sigils 101, Professor Ryze is on sabbatical to promote the most recent edition of his coursebook, Runic Sigils and Hidden Magic, 17th edition. A substitute lecturer will be provided, and out-of-date course books must be replaced at their current cover price of $7,000.
God damn, son.
Too real.
Shit. This was my profile picture at Riot.
Oh,
Professor
shit.
Ryze. Yeah.
It's that old?
He wasn't part of the skin line before.
Oh, that makes more
it was
sense.
just,
Yeah, he got added after the fact.
Yeah.
He was just a regular old teacher. I think it was actually, it might have been a Halloween skin initially.
It's maybe. Those old ones are kind of all over the place.
I know. Then we got Zombies vs. Slayers, set in a world where champions are zombies or zombie slayers. This one is Zombie Ryze. Obsessed with discovering the cure for a mutagenic virus that had ravaged the population, Ryze scoured the globe for every shred of esoteric medical research he could find, getting tantalizingly close to his goal before succumbing to the very mutation he was trying to eradicate.
Yo, that's cool as hell.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool skin. I feel like the before he got his rework, it was even more like gritty and grungy and nasty looking. Like I think one of his arms like had bones and stuff showing, which I think is, there's reasons why they changed that, obviously, but
Not allowed to have bones anymore.
it's all M&Ms.
I like the League of Lore has lore that we create. sometimes.
Yeah.
And in this one, our bones are M&Ms.
Oh, they're just like those little tubes of the M&M minis.
Mine are the candy cane ones that you get in your Christmas.
And finally, last AU, Ages of Runeterra, Bilgewater. Welcome to Bilgewater, where fortunes are made at the end of a gun.
I've never seen
Anything
this.
you might need can be found at the slaughter docks, whether that be some hired hands, sea monster stew, or the captain who will send you to your watery grave. This one's Pirate Ryze. Prize. In another world and time, when the stress of preventing another rune war was just too much, Ryze left behind his previous life to terrorize the high seas of Runeterra. With his trusty cannon on his back and magic coursing through his veins like gold through his fingers, Pirate Ryze warps from ship to ship and coast to coast, taking what he will.
I'm tired of this rune war.
Some ultimate fucking career burnout right there.
Changes major halfway through. Give a fuck anymore.
What did you do before pirating? I used to save the world, but just kind of got to be too much.
Just taking a year.
This is my gap year.
Shit.
You want to hear some fun facts?
Yeah.
So Ryze was originally voiced by Adam Harrington, who also voiced pre-rework Karthus, Kassadin, Mordekaiser, and Shaco.
Holy crap, dude. That's a lot.
He's currently voiced by Dave B. Mitchell in League of Legends and the Ruination book.
Yeah, that's why he still sounded like an old man to me. If you listen to the Ruination audiobook, he does not sound like a 15-year-old unpleasant boy.
That's just...
He sounds like an old... Which, I mean, I feel like that's got to be hard. You get called in to do this voice, and you're like, now do a 15-year-old version of the grizzled old man voice, but still make it noticeable as the grizzled old man voice. What are you going to do, you know?
What are you gonna do? Since release, Ryze has gone through 6 reworks.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of impressive when you think about it.
Yeah, it's a lot. And he's between 1,025 and 1,080 years old. He's born at some point before the Ruination.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. He was one of the original playable characters in the Summoner's Rift battle training tutorial, along with Ashe and Garen. Ryze was the first champion to have 9 skins, and also the first to have 2 harrowing ones specifically.
Oh.
He was also deemed as having next to no counterplay for ultra rapid fire mode in 2014, and was disabled in all but non-custom games.
Yeah, I believe it.
I could see that. God.
Yeah.
He's already, like, called a machine gun champion.
Right.
So.
God. Yeah, especially 2014 Ryze. That was on version... Okay. I was trying to remember like what version of Ryze that was, but that was the one that was... Yeah. Yeah, that seems right.
Triumphant Ryze is only available to those who win official competition matches, and Mark and I both have it for our Riot Rumble Championship wins.
Hell
Yeah. Mark, you played Ryze. I don't think you got to play. I think they banned him on you on all those games, didn't they? I feel like I remember you playing Ryze.
I remember playing Cassio.
You played Cassiopeia.
Cass
Yeah.
and Ari are the ones I remember.
Right.
But,
Just that.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a really fun skin to take into an ARAM, especially when it's like, I don't really play Ryze at all.
Yeah, because you have 0 masteries in Ryze. Bravo.
It makes your account look the most bot. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that. Oh my god.
And then finally, SKT1 Faker's recall animation references some aspects of Faker.
Oh.
So the tumble roll he performs at the end references the tumble Faker performed on his introduction at the Season 5 World Championship Grand Finals, where he just walked out on stage and just did a little roll.
Oh, God.
Which he also does in the Ignite cinematic.
Mm-hmm.
And then the laptop held by Ryze shows an image of broccoli on the screen during his recall. And this references a fan that stated that Faker's hair resembles broccoli. Faker responded by saying that he would eat a head of broccoli if SKT1 won the Season 5 Championship Grand Finals. And he followed through on this promise by eating a piece of broccoli on stage immediately after they won, which is also referenced in the Ignite cinematic.
A wild thing.
Right.
I'll eat some broccoli. He
Right.
farted
Whoa.
the whole way back to the party.
But it was victory farts, so it's fine. They
Yeah,
smell.
you're
True.
allowed.
They smell
They
great.
smelled good. You heard it here. Faker has good smelling farts.
You heard it here, folks. That's canon.
I'm sorry. I need to take that out. That's not going out to the world. We
I'm
can't.
not editing the video.
What if Faker hears this?
He'll know that we appreciate it.
What, you wouldn't be complimented? Someone said your farts don't stink?
I would. You're right.
Yeah.
We'd never say it, but if we did.
They would.
Well, we're a lot of things, but we're not liars, okay?
The M&M bones don't make the farts smell better. All right, we gotta go. We gotta go.
Well, that's it. I mean, I got no more fun facts. That's it for me.
All right. Any more thoughts on Ryze?
Not really. I think we talked about it.
Yeah. Well, that was Ryze. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
We have a Twitter. It's at Loreheads. We have a Twitch as well. Twitch.tv/Loreheads. John streams every Saturday. He usually starts with TFT. And then we do some ARAMs with viewers if you want to hang out with us. We have a YouTube as well. We've been posting clips and the full videos of these episodes if you want to check out what we look like.
Everyone seems very disappointed.
Yeah. I don't blame you. We have a Discord as well if you want to join in on our smelly fart discussions, which is what happens every day. I'm sure there's going to be at least one after this podcast goes up. And we have a Patreon. We just did the Helmet Bro episode, which was posted as a bonus episode. So yay. Thank you so much to all of our patrons.
But a very special thank you to our Medarda tier patrons. Big Man Gnomes, Chloe Things, I Love Mark, King of Hearts, Shupa Moustache, and Techno Robert. If you each had a world rune and I was Ryze, I would ask you nicely for it and not murder you.
Aww.
But what if they
that's
said
so
no?
nice.
What if they said the trolls will come and eat our bones?
I recommend
First
you
they're gonna
don't
eat
say
them,
no, though.
Then they're going to eat me. Oh my god.
Ryze!
Oh, honey. Trolls 2 reference. One of my favorite movies. And that, we are done with the R's, everybody.
Oh, shit.
That's it. Yeah, we are about to embark on the S's. It is the most amount of champions. Start with the letter S.
Do you want to jump back to Melio first?
Oh,
Ooh.
do we want to do that?
I think they
he's got all
finally
his
finished
lore
releasing
out
his
already,
stuff.
right?
So.
Well, let me
yeah.
look up his title.
The gentle
Well, we're putting off
flame?
the S's.
We'll stave off that.
Yeah. So join us next week. We're going to talk about the Gentle Flame, the new champion, Milio. He's so cute.
So cute.
He's so cute.